how are you? I'm Danielle. Welcome to Moonlight Intuition. This is going to be a general reading for you. If there are any messages that resonate with you in this reading, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, because all these things help the channel get out there more, and it helps the messages get out to other Scorpios who may benefit. And if you would like a personal reading with me, all the info for that is in the description box below. All right, you got 3 cards right out of the gate, my dear. So you got the Magician, the Hanged Man reversed, and the Two of Swords reversed. And sorry, the Hanged Man was upright. It's just like the man himself is upside down. So, okay, Scorpio. First of all, the Magician is one of the most positive cards. It's the first major arcana. It comes right after the Fool. I think you recently started a Fool's journey. So, and by that I mean, so if we look at the major arcana in tarot, it goes from 0 at the Fool and then to 21 with the World, or 20, I forget. Anyway, whatever. It starts with the Fool, ends with the World. And so I feel like you started kind of a new cycle recently, okay? And after a kind of dark time. And as I said that, I looked at the timer on the phone and it said 1:11, which I love. So you have 2 major arcana here. So the Magician, yeah, it's number 1. The Fool is the first card in the major arcana. It's kind of like, okay, taking a leap of faith a little bit. And I think it's for you even like from away from the darker realms of your inner world to like, you know, out there. You know what I mean? Being like, okay, I've been in deep, and now I'm like, whoo. And I can see that you've started to bring things in to the physical world based on your desires. So, which is really great because you are such a magician. You're Scorpio, like you're like next level, can, you know, go deep and bring anything into reality that you desire. And maybe it's like a time to especially pay attention to just take stock, because whenever you're pulled back into your old patterns of limiting beliefs and whatever that may mean to you, it's to really take stock of how you are now based on your thoughts, where you're putting your energy, how that's affecting your mood, how you feel, even in your body, and how that's affecting your habits versus to, let's say, even a few months ago, or even like, you know, we just had a full moon in Virgo. So to pay attention, take stock of your life between now, I mean, the full moon in Virgo was over the weekend. How have you changed between like now and Virgo, like, you know, mid-September? What has shifted? Because that's like a big 6-month cycle from like the Virgo new moon to the Virgo full moon, okay? To pay attention how you feel, what has changed, and blah, 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 and pay attention to how that inner world has changed, especially your habits, okay? And we want you to remember this, and you're smart. We want you to pay attention to this. Like, okay, back in September, what was I like? What was my energy focused on? How was I feeling? And how was that affecting my habits or lack thereof? What was I doing? How was I spending my time back in September versus how am I spending my time now? And we want you to remember that, because this is all based on your inner world. Everything that you're kind of doing is based on how you're feeling and where you're putting your energy, where you're putting your attention. And I mean all inner. You're very inner. So I mean like inner, where you're kind of like, when you fall into these suspicious, like, fearful places, how does that affect your habits, your literal habits? What were you doing back in September versus where are you focusing your attention now, and how is that affecting your habits? And this is the Magician, baby. So even when you're not, you know, in a good place, there's no bad place to be. It's all the cycles of life, but we don't want you to fall back into a dark cycle, because I think you've freshly come out of one. So to remember that it's like the Magician, you are always bringing things into reality. It's just, I think now you're at more of a conscious place. And so to pay attention, to be like, okay, I was always kind of manifesting, or I was always bringing things into the reality. I was always taking action based on my inner world, based on your, like what you're bringing in from the metaphysical world down. So you're in a really powerful place. Now, The Hanged Man is big Pisces energy. So we're in Pisces season right now. And again, we just had the full moon in Virgo. So I don't know if the weekend or even now or like in the days, you know, there's something to Virgo. It's like Virgo and Pisces is a fellow water sign. Very deep, dreamy, mystical, liminal, kind of like, ooh, like otherworldly. There's something with the axis of Pisces and Virgo that's like, you know, the spirit meets the body, because, you know, we all have a sister sign, okay? So your sister sign is Taurus. Like we all have a perfectly opposing sign, much like the colors. There's like red and green. For you, there's Scorpio and Taurus. So it's like fixed water and fixed earth. And then the axis that the full moon in the season just happened was in Pisces and Virgo. They're also perfectly opposing signs. And Pisces is mutable water, Virgo is mutable earth. And so it's like Pisces really is the spirit and Virgo is the body. And it's like Pisces is human being, just being, like existing. And Virgo is human doing. It's like Virgo is all about looking at structures and organization and making things more efficient. And it's really beautiful how all these signs, it's really about balance. And so it might be at a place to, like, the Hanged Man is really a card of surrender. And I know the term of surrender can seem so like, okay, you just want me to surrender. But it's like to really, I feel like for you, what's coming to mind right now is that to almost like affirm to yourself, even if you have to brainwash yourself by writing affirmations, I do it over and over and over again, be like, I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. I'm doing enough. I'm resting enough. Like, we want you to remember that it's like everything you've just gone through, even if it didn't go according to plan, happened really for you to set you up for the things that are queued up for you, that are happening now and that are forthcoming. So we don't want you to regress. And like you will, this is how life works. And it's really amazing. It's like we have patterns that kind of run in the background and then we kind of become aware of them. And then they're still running sometimes. And if you follow on Instagram, it's like Corey Mascara. And I really enjoy his work. He was a former monk and he posts kind of daily little anecdotes, and I shared it on my Moonlight Intuition page. He was like, patterns when they're running in the background really run our lives because it's subconscious and we're not aware of it. So I feel like maybe even 6 months ago, you had patterns that were a bit more subconscious, but he's like, but then they kind of can still run, but when they're in the foreground, like we become aware of it, right? So might be where you're at, that you're like, okay, I'm aware now of this thing I used to do, whether it's like a self-sabotage or like thirsting for more, like, you know what I mean, feeling like this passion for more, and like that it's nothing is ever enough, and that is probably still there, but I feel like it's like in the foreground now, like you're aware of it now. So, but anyway, so in Corey's video, he said, and I really, really loved it because I've been going through this right now myself, and it's amazing. It's like when it's in the foreground, it's almost like you just have to almost let the gas tank run on empty from the patterns, but it's like in the foreground now, you're aware of it now. So it's almost just to surrender, and it's only a matter of time before those kind of negative habits are kind of gone and you truly become the phoenix rising above it. So even if you're like, let's say you have better habits now because of your inner world, and you're like, oh, but I'm feeling myself getting back to that thing, don't give up. You're aware of it now, right? Because it's in the foreground now. So it's almost just to find whatever that means to you, coping strategies to ease your way through that storm that you find yourself in, to not react to it in the ways that you used to. And for you, it might be kind of, not weird. I'm a water sign too, I get it. So when I say anything about it, it's like, I get it. It's like, you know, if you kind of feel triggered, instead of maybe the inner brooding and suspicions and like, you know, instead of going there, it's to do something else to kind of give yourself compassion through that storm. And whether that's, meditation, compassion meditations, if it's like laying in child's pose and putting on sound healing for 5 minutes, going for a walk, nature is everything, because it's like we're so interconnected with everything. The trees, it's so magical. And the more you kind of start to awaken, it's like going outside is like being on LSD. You're like, oh my God, everything is like, and I've never done that, but Thank God, because I'd probably love it. But it's like, you know, the more you become aware, the more you step into your awareness, it's like life becomes so like, and you start, your senses become alive, right? And so we want you to know that it's like, you're exactly where you're meant to be, even if you're like, oh, you're doing, and you're like, okay, great, now I'm doing better. Look at all the things I'm doing now that are more productive and healthier for me and making me happy. Oh, but I'm regressing. It's like, that's okay. Again, the pattern, I think, went from the subconscious to now the foreground, and you almost have to just let it run its course. But now that you're aware, you can develop coping strategies that work for you to get yourself through that little storm, right? And it'll be different for everybody. Like me the other night, like a few nights ago, I was very triggered at like 3 a.m. and whatever, things that are specific to me. And I pulled up, a compassion meditation, and it was wild. I mean, for me, it released emotions. I'm not saying I'm a Cancer, that's just a classic for me, but it's like, it really changed me. Like, because when you kind of alchemize your light and your shadow, when you're like, okay, when we're triggered, we're almost like in a trance, right? So don't trust yourself when you're in the trance. Don't make decisions, or, you know, just don't make decisions when you're in a trance. But when you're in the trance, I think you're more aware of it. So you can make choices to get yourself through the trance in a compassionate way. So next time, like a thing that usually would have sent you in the trance eventually won't, right? It's really fucking magical. So you're in a really powerful place. And the 2 of Swords reversed is kind of that. It's like, why do I sense like this is intuitively what's coming up? It's almost like maybe you're afraid, like don't be on guard that if you're going to be triggered again to fall back into old patterns like that. You are safe. Again, I am exactly where I'm meant to be. You're safe to put down your defenses, right? Against yourself. It's like, and this is going to be a card of kind of turning away from your emotions. And yeah, for some reason, intuitively, for the sake of this reading, I feel it's kind of like, being on guard of yourself, that I'm like, oh, but I'm scared. Like, what if that you're almost like, even if you're in a good place, you're kind of catastrophizing that you're not going to be in a good place, right? That it's like, well, I'm just going to go back to my old ways. It's like, you are safe there's nothing to be afraid of. And to come back to the now, it's like, I'm exactly where I'm meant to be, which is, in this case, sitting here watching this tarot reading. And that's all you know. So to not come to conclusions, right? Don't logic your way to conclusions that are not real. There are no conclusions in life. Like, there's literally no conclusion. It's like, other than eventually like our physical death, and then it's like, I don't even think it's over yet, right? But it's like in life situations, we kind of try to logic our way to try and, you know, make ourselves feel safe and better. But it's like to just accept I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. And to really remember, look where you were back in September and look where you are now. You are in a different place. So you're just still moving. So don't catastrophize things that aren't even real, because you are really progressing. And even if you regress, you have better awareness now to get yourself through it, because you are the magician. You are meant to bring whatever you desire into the physical world. Oh, Scorpio, I love you so much. I wish you a magical day. I hope that this reading resonated for you. Please like the video, subscribe. I send you so much love. And until next time, see ya.